What's up everyone and welcome to the channel. If this is your first time or if you're coming back, my name's Evan Backlid, and in this channel we talk about everything about the Denver, Colorado. So really how it is living here, what the lifestyle is like here, what my story is, but we also dive into the numbers and kind of what the real estate market is saying here. So before we get right into it, I am a real estate agent here in Denver, Colorado. So if you are looking to buy or sell, or if you know of anyone looking to move to our amazing city, feel free to reach out to me or have them reach out to me. All of my contact information can be found below. So let's jump right into it. All right, so what I like to start off with is the numbers that we get from DMAR, and DMAR is the Denver Metro Association of Realtor. These numbers are powered by the amazing Ruth team over at Movement Mortgage, someone that we love to work with over here in Denver, Colorado. So let's just jump right into it and start off. This is the report for July 24. Here is a quick little snapshot that you're looking at. So the median close price here in Denver, Colorado did drop by just 0.17%. We are now sitting at a median close price of $600,000, as well as closed homes did also drop by 5.19%. We're now sitting at 3,708 sales. Sales volume did also drop. With that closed homes drop, that makes a lot of sense. By 6.41%. Sales volume is now at $2.63 billion. Months of inventory did go up. We're now sitting at 2.86. It went up by 2.88%. So we're starting to see that needle switch perhaps a little bit from a seller's market into a buyer's market, and we'll dive a bit more into exactly what that means and how that might impact you in a little bit here. Median days on market did also go up by 15.38%. We are now sitting at 15 days. Active listings were also up 3.62% at 10,584 listing. New listings actually went down for this month. 5,152 new listings did enter the market, so that's a reduction of 11.58 compared to last month. And pending sales, same as the closed homes and sales volume, did also go down. So pending sales is at 3,896, and it only went down by 0.18%. So here is a market overview. I'm not going to dive too much into this because I think we have a lot of things to talk about today. So feel free to pause the video here, do a quick little screen grab, or take some time just to really look at these numbers. As you can see, the current month, July 2024, and then you have prior month, and then you have last year's number. But really be sure to look over at the month over month change as well as year over year change, so you can start looking at some of those trends. We'll be going into the trends a little bit later in this report. We do have some great analytics and some great graphs that I like to look over and analyze. So pause the video, check this out, and we'll continue. All right, so obviously expert opinion on the Denver Metro residential real estate market. We are getting this from the amazing Libby Levinson-Katz. She is the chair of the DMAR Market Trends Committee over at the Denver Metro Association of Realtors. And what she's saying is essentially that we are looking at a little shift happening in the market. So what Libby is saying here, we're going to jump into the second paragraph, is that she's heard that we're potentially shifting into a buyer's market, right? So the statistics here in the second sentence indicate that we are moving towards a more balanced market, in fact, because the months of inventory is at 2.86%. However, some price ranges in areas of town has simply become a buyer's market due to the number of available options. So after this report, we're actually going to jump into a few other reports, one of them being Megan Ahler's, the amazing Megan Ahler's numbers, and we'll dive a bit more into exactly why it is looking more like a buyer's market and why now would perhaps be a good time to buy. But I digress. Further on here, she is saying that the market experience has slowed down with 11.58% decrease in new listings month over month, even though that our listings year over year is up 7.58%. So we do have more listings available on the market compared to years past. However, we had even more just a few months ago in June and in May. A lot of that reason is perhaps because it is July. A lot of the families and a lot of the people, homeowners here in Denver, Colorado, they take a little break. They like to go to the mountains. They like to go on vacation. So naturally, we're going to see less listings and less homeowners looking to list their house on the market during that time. Active listings increased 3.62% month over month, with an astonishing 68.03% year over year to 10,584, which I mentioned earlier. So a part of this that I want to point out is the last two paragraphs here. I alluded to a little bit earlier, but buyers, as I've experienced as well working with buyers, were aware of the rise in inventory, right? As the negotiation, as close price to list price ratio is the lowest it has been year to date since July 2020. So this means that there are a lot more listings on it. We have more leverage as working with the buyers or as buyers. So a lot of that negotiation, buyers are now able to get into the house perhaps at a lower price than what is listed on the MLS. Sellers are also more willing to give seller concessions, as well as looking to really make a deal with the buyers to ensure that their house is selling while it is listed on the market. The median days, she goes to say here, meanwhile, the median days in the MLS continue to increase steadily, with a 15.38% increase month over month to 15 days and a 66.67% increase year over year. So homes are sitting longer on the market. This is adding to the reason why buyers are able to negotiate a lower price, because sellers are staying more on the market. They have more days on the market and they want to get their house sold at the end of the day. In the last paragraph, the summer season is starting to wind down throughout August, and buyers, as I mentioned, buyers have the ability to negotiate, which in some ways is like the shopping for the best deal during the Nordstrom anniversary sale. That is funny. It does also provide time to find a new home before prices go back up, because there are more homes on the market. They're staying longer on the market, so buyers have more leverage, as she mentioned, than we had since July 2020. All right, let's jump into some of the graphs. Feel free to pause the video and look at some of these graphs to kind of dive a bit deeper into it. The one line I want you to look at, obviously we have detached homes in the dotted line. We have attached homes in the blue line here, but the trend is really the same for them all. Since right around January of this year, listings have been sitting longer on the market and more listings have been entering the market. So obviously that is leading a large increase of listing at month's end. And if we're looking at it, we actually have now more residential listings than we have had in a long time. The most recent height that we had was in November 2019. We were sitting just below 8,000 listings on the market, and right now we are almost touching that 11,000 active homes on the market. So this is further in going into the narrative that buyers have more leverage. There's more listings out there. Buyers are aware of this, and sellers are also aware of this, so they know they need to accommodate buyers a little bit more to ensure that they're the listing and their home is the one that gets sold in the neighborhood. New listings, here you can really see the seasonality of everything. Obviously, the green line is still residential. We peaked at the amount of listings right around May of this year, which is pretty typical, as in years past. You can see these peaks and then it goes into the valley towards the end of the year. So we mentioned this earlier, month over month, there is less new active listings on the market, and this is simply due to the seasonality of our Denver metro. People are out on vacation, people aren't listing their houses much, and things really start slowing down a little bit when it comes to listings towards the end of the year and begins to pick back up again in the spring selling frenzy. When looking at pending sales here, you can see year over year, our market has been slowing down quite a bit when looking at the sales. We peaked right in the middle of COVID. I'm sure if you were here already, but if you weren't, I'll tell you a little story. There was a lot of home buyers in the market and a lot of sellers. There was a lot of activity in our market here. This was mainly driven by the low interest rates. So people had more access to money and they saw the opportunity to get into a house. Since then, in 2021, you can see the peak value in pending sales as well lines up with the new active listings. It's right around the May time. So you can see it really starts increasing every single year. It starts increasing in that springtime, peaks, and then starts dipping back down into the valley. But from 2020, we've seen a decrease of activity in the real estate market. Here in 2023, we are looking very similar here in 2024. So it's looking like we're starting to tail out a little bit, stable a little bit. And we'll see what happens with interest rates as well as other factors in the market to see that activity hopefully come back into our market when looking at pending sales. Here we're now at the graph, we're looking at the residential median as well as the average close price. A very important graph to pay attention to. Here we can see obviously the consistent trend here in Denver, Colorado, that our home prices are increasing. We saw a very fast and high increase right around that 2019 all the way up to the beginning of 2022. Since then, that increase has gone through some ups and downs, obviously, which is very typical and normal based on that seasonality that I was mentioning earlier, but trending in a little slower increase, but we are still seeing an increase in average closed price. So average and median here. So right now, the average closed home price is a little over $700,000 and the median closed price is sitting right at $600,000. This graph here is showing the average days in the MLS. I alluded to this a little bit earlier that we are seeing that homes are sitting on the market a little longer than we have in years past. Right in that 2022, our homes on market was extremely low. Obviously, actually the lowest since it's been before 2015. We were under 10 days on the market and the house would sell on average. That started increasing up with the activity being lower. This is telling the same trend. And since right around May of 2024, so you can look at it as the inverse of the other graphs that we were looking at, we are now starting to see the average days in MLS go back up. So for attached and detached homes were sitting right around 27 days on the market on average, and on attached we're sitting a little bit higher at that 35 range. So right now, gone are the days of, hey, let's get it listed, let's sell it in the first weekend and move on. We can still attain that. It's just a very detailed strategy that you need to work with a true professional real estate agent or realtor to be able to really craft that story and have your house sell in the first weekend and get the price right. But more than likely, you should look at this average days in the MLS as a good outline on what to expect, so you can kind of hedge your expectations a little bit when looking at your home sale. This last graph here that I want to walk through is the residential active listings as well as the closed sales at the month's end. As you can see, back in 2008 and 2009, we had a lot of homes on the market. That started decreasing quite significantly after the housing crash, and we have been hovering right under 10,000 mark. And with a low in 2022, we had very little homes on the market, just over 1,000. So obviously that's going back to this graph. That's why the homes average days in the MLS was so low, because there were so little houses for buyers to look through. So a lot of those were just getting swiped up and purchased as soon as it did hit the market. Since then, since 2022, we've seen a steady increase of active listings on the market, and now we are above that 10,000 mark. So this is the highest we have been since right around 2015 times. So this is adding more to the narrative that we might be in a shifting over or might be in a buyer's market. Obviously more days in the MLS on the market, more active listings. Interest rates are dropping. We'll look at that a little bit later. So right now could be telling a story that it might be a great time to purchase a home because you do have a lot of options out there, as well as sellers are looking to find that perfect buyer, and getting a really good buyer is attractive for the sellers at the moment. Closed sales is telling a very stable story. Since 2020, we have actually seen a decrease of home sales, but we are right on line and in par as we were in last year. The ups and downs is what I was talking about a little bit earlier, is the seasonality of everything, as we are peaking right around that April-May time. So active sales will be slowing down, most likely trending a bit down towards the end of the year and then picking back up again in the spring. The last thing we are going to be looking at today is a little spotlight on mortgages. So we are getting these numbers from Nicole Ruth with the Ruth team over at Movement Mortgage. I want to focus on these bullet points we have here, but feel free to pause the screen and fully read through this, as this is telling a lot of the story of why buyers are now looking to re-enter the market and why that right now might be a great opportunity to buyers to begin their process, as they do have more leverage than they have had in the years past.